On this day, back in 2001, a tragedy occurred with the September 11th attacks. Over 2,986 people, including 2,977 victims and 18 hijackers who committed murder-suicide. Thousands more were injured with the attacks on the Twin Towers and as well as on the Pentagon. 125 were killed in that as well. When you look back, a lot of people are able to tell you what exactly they were doing on that day. Where they were, perhaps they were having coffee, perhaps they were taking their children to school, perhaps they were in school, perhaps they were just with family, reminiscing, just living their daily lives on that fateful day. On that day, I was at school. I was probably only in first or second grade. When it happened, I was, school just told us, say, hey, everyone, you're all going home early. Honestly, looking back at it, I did not really know. My mother had picked me up. The TV, it was in another room, so I was told, hey, go play in another room. Okay, my mom and dad are doing something else, so they were watching, from what I've been told, the reportings as it had occurred. Honestly, when it had happened, I didn't really know much of it. I guess I was kind of shielded from it when it had happened. I had just, in a way, thought, it's, besides just getting out of school early, I was just unaware, I guess. But as I got older, in the next grade, I, we start to, say, memories and all that. Schools would sometimes say, hey, on this day, we look back at what occurred last year. I gotta say, what I probably fully understood what happened, I was probably more shocked, confused, in a way, just probably asking the question of why.
A huge explosion now, raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the
way. Why did it happen, and for what reason, in a way? Why would they want to attack? And it's honestly, looking, as a young kid, I just, didn't really understand, but as I kind of got older, and as the grades, 3rd or 5th or 6th grade, I probably saw more, looking back at it, so seeing the crash, and all that stuff, it made me say, it really got into my head, what everyone, all the victims that were in that, were under, all the, all the victims who had family members had probably fought,
Somewhere between 74 and 72 in that stairwell, when the second plane went through our building. And it went through our building between floors 77 and 82. So we were just a few floors below the strike zone.
Or thinking of at that time. my mother at the time, like when it had happened, she has recently told me that most parents at the time were probably thinking, like, say, hey, perhaps we need to have more kids, because, like, what if another one occurs? What if something happens to our first child?
Very often make recommendations for people's behavior from this chair, but as Lisa was talking, I checked in with my children, and who are deeply distressed, as I think young people are across the United States. And so if you're a parent, you got a kid in some other part of the country, call them up, exchange observations. People have been getting onto sites on the web, which is a very good
way, and also told that, like, say, hey, like, my parents probably were trying to get money out of the bank, and as well as, like, packing things in case of something did occur, because when I was growing up, I was living in West Virginia. The big fear at the time probably was, what if another attack had occurred, and where we were, perhaps. And looking back at it, I'd say it truly is, like looking back at all those images of it, it's truly like a haunting imagery.
It looked like it was on purpose.
You saw a plane?
Yes, I just saw a plane go into the building.
But as the days would go on, like, say, after it, like, the country, in a way, would try to come together and, you know, comfort each other, one would say. Comfort each other. And how we were all feeling together, in a way. If you had family members or had friends that were affected by it, or perhaps maybe you were a firefighter or a first responder at the time, thank you for helping others. Thank you for doing what you could at the time. Stay safe out there, everyone. See you soon.